Hi, second grade. Today we're working on lesson 13, writing an ending. And our objective is I can write a strong ending for a personal narrative that links the beginning and end of my story. We're going to turn to our page 53 in our notebook. And on this page, we have the beginning of a story and the end of the story. And we're going to read both parts. We're going to see how the beginning of the story connects with the end of the story. This is from Too Many Tamales, and it's written by Gary Soto. Okay, so I'm going to read the first 2 pages. Snow drifted through the streets, and now that it was dusk, Christmas trees glittered in the windows. Maria moved her nose off the glass and came back to the counter. She was acting grown up now, helping her mother make tamales. Their hands were sticky with masa. "That's very good," her mother said. Okay, so at the beginning of the story, I'm introduced to the characters, and I also see that they're making tamales. And then she takes her hands and puts them in the sticky masa. Okay, now I'm going to read the ending. When Maria couldn't help herself, she laughed. And pretty soon everyone else was laughing, including her mother. And when Maria put her hands back into the bowl of masa, the leftover tear was gone. Okay. So I noticed some connections to the beginning and end of the story. I noticed that they both start and end with Maria, and we get to know a little bit about her character, how she's helping her mom make tamales, and how she's acting like a grown-up. But at the end, she's laughing. And then I also noticed that they are making tamales. And at the beginning, the bowl of masa is full of sticky masa. And at the end, the masa is all gone. So I think in my story, I want to make sure I connect the beginning and the end. And you're going to do the same thing too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read and think about the beginning of my story. And then I'm going to go to my ending of my story and think about how I can connect it. Just read my beginning story. Have you ever seen a large wild animal while on a camping trip? This is the story of the first time it happened to me. Will and I were walking on a wooden trail at Grover Hot Springs. The earthy pine smell mixed with the fresh cut wood, and I thought to myself, this must be a new trail. I could see lots of trees full of green pine around me. It was quiet, and all I could hear was our footsteps and the rustling leaves. I smiled as I took a deep breath. So at the beginning of my story, I'm really calm. I'm really peaceful. And I'm also talking about what's going to happen in my story, seeing a large wild animal. So I think what I want to do is bring it back to this at the end of my story. That's when we immediately turned around and headed back to our campsites. Well, I know sometimes, most of the time when I go camping, it's usually calm and quiet and peaceful when I'm going on those hikes. But sometimes you see something unexpected and maybe a little scary. So I think I want to remind my readers of that, right? I'm talking about this one time on my camping trip where I saw a large wild animal. But most of the time, I'm calm and peaceful. So I'm going to say that. Most of the time, camping, or I guess I'm talking about when I'm on a hike. Hikes are calm and peaceful. However, sometimes you see something exciting and scary. However, sometimes, I think I want to say you're lucky if you see something exciting. Or maybe I should even say the large wild animal. You're lucky and you get to see an exciting, large creature. So I connected my ending by talking about how I usually calm during my camping trips, just like I was at the beginning of my story. And then I connected it back to my question that I said at the beginning about seeing a large wild animal. So you're going to do the same thing. What I want you to do is, and you can even read through your whole story. It's always good to practice and keep reading it, but you're going to make sure you read your beginning and you're going to think about how you connect your beginning to your end of your story. And you should read this to yourself to help you get ideas. Okay, go ahead and get started.